Let's talk, kids. A lot of us right now, we're probably not where we want to be. So I don't want you really to get upset like, hey, I don't have time, rushing yourself towards certain stuff. But that's not really what this video is really going to go on. What I want to talk to you about is weight, your intake, our eating habits. What we take into our bodies is what we get out of our bodies. You have heard that a million times. And nutrition is a big thing. Then we got the demonic aspect of everything. Like demons are attached to so many different aspects of our lives. And Word of God says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spirits and principles, whereat they're in high places doing this evil. And you're not able to see them, touch them, or actually interfere in some of the things that they're taking and doing with your life. So, when it comes to food, my intake, my weight, I monitor that. I'm very careful about that. When I realized long time ago that they had me at a heavier weight, like I would hardly eat. I would probably eat maybe one meal a day, sometimes if that, and I was still considered excessively overweight. Seriously, like 200-300 pounds, but my body didn't reflect that. But when I get on a scale, the scale would say, oh, you're 260 pounds, you're 280 pounds. And I would be like, how could I be that weight when I look like this? How could I be that weight when I hardly eat? How could I be that weight? And this is what I call it, a trick of the enemy. God even reflects on it in the Bible. Let every man eat their portion. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to eat your fill. You're going to eat your portion. You're going to eat your fill. Eat your fill. And after that, it is what it is. And the importance of that is when the enemy comes and you have already ate your fill, there's nothing that can tempt you. When he comes to tempt you, you're already where you need to be. You get what I'm saying? I ate already. If I didn't eat, I knew why I didn't eat, so I know it's you. And it's a combat method against weight and weight gain, against mental stuff that takes place. I can't tell you that I go through the fact that the enemy wants me to eat 3 times a day. I'm sitting there, sleep. I'm getting woke up out of my sleep at 12 o'clock like, hey, you gonna eat? And nobody's at the house with me. I'm getting woke up 4 days in the morning. You gonna eat? Nobody's at the house with me. I'm getting woke up in the middle of the night. You gonna eat? Nobody's at the house with me. So knowing what I'm up against when it comes to me dealing with weight helps me better monitor myself. I usually fast. Like last year, the whole year I fast. I will only eat 2 times a day. And I pretty much fast throughout the day. I fast throughout the night. I really wasn't really intaking much into my body. Doing like spiritual fast, spiritual cleansing daily. And it had its wear and tear on me. I even had people that, like, when I went through a certain situation where they call themselves kidnapping me through the system and the government and law enforcement, I went through them not understanding when you took me, I was on a fast. So and I ended up having to break my fast in order for them to release me. Like I'm seriously on a 24-hour fast, spiritually dealing with some stuff that I'm dealing with in my life. And this is how I was taught as a believer to approach things. And then it was like, well, if she doesn't eat, we can't let her go. So I ended up having to break my fast to be released. But while I was in this part of tribulations, God began to manifest and show me many different things about awakening. They want to say that we don't want to be woke. We don't want to see. We don't want to know. And that's so far from the truth. So don't let them bother you. When you actually get to the point that I'm at, you see it for what it is, you know it for what it is, and you don't even worry about it. You just sit up there and push past. You know what I'm saying? You see the truth. Even being blinded, you see the truth. And that's the biggest thing. But I started realizing, like, with my weight, that somebody's going to always have a problem. Somebody's going to always have a problem with you fasting because you're dealing with demonic things that you can't see. They want you to eat. While you're eating, you're not happy eating because guess what? They're tampering with your food. They're tampering with you, your body, or whatever, and stuff like that. Even when you're not eating, you sitting up there, probably laying down in your bed, and you realize it's disgusting stuff that you taste stuff being pushed into your mouth disgustingly and stuff like that. So I learned to just find my medium, find my happiness. No, I am not a size 2. And I probably will never be a size 2. Who knows what God has in the making or in the plan. I probably will never be a size 2. So I eat what I want to eat. And I try to sit up there and eat as healthy as possible. A lot of people don't know this. In the past couple of months, like for the past month, I stopped eating out. And I started making sure I make my meals at home. I may eat out maybe once a week, but I'm trying to stop eating out altogether because at one time when I first started working the job that I'm working now, I was eating out like every day. Every day. I was either eating there at the job or I'm eating somewhere else. And I sat up there and say, hold on, let me stop this. Let me make my own food. Let me make my own food. And even making my own food, I don't grow my own food, but I make my own food. So there's still exposure to contaminants, exposure to a whole bunch of different things. But at the same time, this is like the first step. We will not conquer Rome overnight. We will not conquer wherever we want to conquer or the world overnight. It comes in steps, processes, and phases. And so this was my first phase of taking back my life, just taking back stuff that I feel like I need to control, which are my eating habits. You get what I'm saying? Eating habits are very important, and you got every demon trying to show you you're not small enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not good enough. You get what I'm saying? So to get some of that control out of the hands of the enemy and you not do anything drastic like stomach reduction. I'm starting to see people do stomach reduction and then they come to the realization they weren't eating as much and there was a display of weight gain, and that's a psychological thing, the same way anorexia is. If you're anorexic, this deals with you actually seeing yourself as being obese even when you are not. Isn't that a sad thing? And a lot of us didn't know we were battling that spirit, that demon, without knowing that we're battling that spiritual demon that wants us to be anorexic. And we're not really intaking what we're supposed to intake. And I'm seeing people get stomach reductions. They're doing all these different surgeries and they're growing weaker. You're growing weaker. Why are you growing weak? You weren't really ingesting the way you were supposed to ingest to begin with. You weren't really intaking nutrients the way you wanted to intake nutrients to begin with. So we have to be careful because that intake matters. It really does. It matters a lot. So I'm sitting up here and I started fixing my own food at home, started watching what I intake, started wanting to make sure that I'm intaking healthy foods, make sure that I'm doing the right things. And this is my first stage towards correcting weight. You know, of course, I want to be this fitness person at some point. I haven't really quite started on that venture as of yet, but it's in the process, ages, stages, we working towards conquering. And I haven't started towards that part, but just starting on what you take into your body is the first part of healthiness. But I gotta tell you, you're still battling demonic forces that you can't see in high places. You're still battling that. So they're putting stuff into your body. This is part of the reason why half of us are suffering from sugar diabetes. Our community didn't have that. Why didn't we have that? We didn't have all those issues of high blood pressure, sugar diabetes, all these different things because we did not have the effects of what other people was trying to do to us. Now we're dealing with our own people attacking us, causing these problems because you're thinking you're going to sit up there and see some white Klansman when sometimes the Klansman is your own culture. And that's the sad part about it, trying to reflect or deflect their behavior on another culture, and have you reflecting, thinking that other people are attacking you from other cultures, and the whole time it's your culture attacking you. Sometimes it's our culture mixed with a group of other cultures. You know what I'm saying? And this is their agendas, this is the form of their attacks, and this is what they have decided to do to our people, to keep our people shackled and to keep our people from having control. So the first thing I tell people is, and definitely with you guys being my children, is eat, nourish your body. You never know when you're going to have to go through an extended time period of fasting. I one time went through an awakening period where I fasted for a whole week. I didn't eat anything, didn't drink anything, and didn't take anything into my body, and I went through an awakening. As I began to go through the eye-opening awakening, I realized that to wake up that way would cause suffrage. It would actually cause suffrage because I'm used to eating, I'm used to digesting, I'm used to intake. So I kind of began to eat again, you know, because that's not an awakening I want to actually go through, where I'm constantly suffering my body, constantly torturing my body, and taking my body through all of these different changes. Some say, hey, we weren't supposed to be eating to begin with. If that's the case, then why was it introduced? And we go back to demonic possessions and certain things. So we have to sit up there and stay mindful that there's so much going on. And why would the Bible tell us eat? The Bible tells us to fast. He also tells us to eat. Nourish our bodies, take care of our bodies, for it's the temple of God. So why would we be doing this? And a lot of people aren't understanding that we go through these awakenings through fasting, but at the same time we must be awakened to so much more than that, because the moment I digest something, that awakening was done. 1 week I fasted, whole week, nothing into the body, nothing into the mouth, nothing into the soul, nothing into the spirit. Organs begin to shut down, and this is an awakening. Know what you're dealing with. Know exactly what you're dealing with and what you're doing. So I refuse to go back into that form of awakening anymore. So I don't fast that way. I always make sure I'm eating something at least once a day. If I do a fast, I'm going to do a 24-hour fast, break my fast, and then start another 24-hour fast because of the way things are. We have to be aware that we're dealing with people that have taken on the role of demons that want you to reflect on your weight and reflect on yourself negatively. So you will always see yourself in a negative image. This is part of the reason why a lot of people are committing suicide, becoming suicidal and stuff like that. They are not aware, and we are not aware of all the pressures in which they face about weight gain or weight loss. Some of us have lost an excessive amount of weight and we don't know why. They're checking blood, they're checking all this stuff, other stuff, and they say, okay, we won't find nothing wrong with you. And you're eating your regular normal intake. All of it still connects to demonic. Because a lot of times we're taught weight gain, but we're not taught weight loss is a connection to demonic possession. All these things play an important part. I remember when I went eating one time. Remember I told you the system came to pick me up. This is a second incident. System comes to pick me up. I'm like, what's the problem? Why is y'all picking fights with me, picking me up for no reason? Y'all supposed to be law enforcement. Mind y'all doggone business and stop playing with me. I ain't doing nothing wrong. I ain't doing nothing illegal. What seems to be the problem? Y'all keep trying to baker at me. Y'all keep trying to do all this different stuff. All I'm doing is fasting, serving God. What is the problem? You get what I'm saying? And it extended to more than that. You get what I'm saying? They want to force me to eat. If I don't feel like eating, why should I eat? Because I may not even be on a fast. I just may not feel like eating. If I don't feel like eating, why are you forcing an intake? You can't force people to do something that they don't feel like doing. That's a liberty and a right that you're taking from that person. So a lot of this stuff connects to the man's possession and the man trying to stay in control of you. And weight has a major part of it. Some of our daughters are passing out right now. They got a stomach reduction. You done lied to them, and I'm going to tell you the truth. Them scales be lying. You done lied to them young women, told them women they were 300, 400 pounds. No, they weren't no 400 pounds. Know that they couldn't even eat enough in one day to gain 300, 400 pounds. Their one day intake could never take them to that level. But you done lied to them. And now these young women got a stomach reduction and halfway about to die. I know one young woman I remember talking to a while back. She say, I go through feeling dizzy, faint, weak, like I'm about to pass out all the time. And she say, ever since I got this surgery where I got my stomach reduced, I feel like that. And I told her, I say, well, what's happening? Your body is not getting the nutrients it needs. And I told her, I say, when I'm going through situations like that, I always drink Ensure. And she say, Ensure? I was like, yeah, Ensure. Nutrient drinks, Ensure, Boost, glucose, glucose boost drinks and stuff like that. With nothing but nutrients, nothing but vitamins, nothing but stuff that you're going to give to your body to restore your body's chemical balance, restore your body's nourishment, basically, and vitamins. So I told her, I say, all I do is drink Ensure. Sometimes I drink a nutrient drink or whatever the case may be to get the nutrients back into my body. Because what's happening, you're not eating enough to actually bring nutrients to your body. So you have to start eating more, but you can't eat more because you have had this surgery done. So now we have to supplement your eating with a drink, and you're going to do small meals constantly to keep your body going, to boost your metabolism up where you expand. So I told her that, and she was like, oh, thank you, or whatever, and stuff like that. I was like, just small intake, make sure they're healthy. You have to tell people the truth. Make sure that they're healthy. So I can eat apples. Why am I eating apples? I'm just trying to get nutrients and back into my body. Cucumber. Why am I eating a cucumber? Half a cucumber. Get nutrients back into my body. Certain health foods. Get nutrients back into your body. Bag of chips if you want to. I'm not really picky about everything that I eat because I do eat junk food too. I love candy and stuff like that. Have your candy bar or whatever the case may be. But you have to get nutrients into your body so that you can maintain your weight, because the enemy has two tricks. You're going to go through either extreme weight loss, No matter how much you eat, you're not going to gain weight. Or you're going to go through extreme weight loss, extreme weight gain. No matter how much you eat or don't eat, even if you don't eat, you're going to gain weight. So let's say you don't eat for 2 days, you don't lose not 1 pound, you still have weight gain. And all this deal with the man's possession, demonic possession. We call it the man's possession. Demon possession. And all of it connects to that. So just making sure that you love yourself, whether you 1 pound or 3,000. Loving yourself through no matter where you're at on that scale. No matter where you show up on that scale, whether you show up as a beast, love yourself through that and stuff like that. Or whether you show up as a size 2, love yourself through that. You know what I'm saying? Because some of the things that we're fighting is trying to replace us. The man possession. The man wants to be us. So he's trying to replace us. So guess what? He's 400 pounds and you're not. So I got to reflect you as 400 pounds so that I can sit up there and I can be you. You have to look like you're extremely overweight so that that person can be you and try to infiltrate. They got terrorist disguise. They look like us, but I know who I trust. Trust when I tell you that we gonna be all right. But this is what we're up against. And you gotta know what you're up against. So, healthy weight gain. Healthy weight. What is my healthy weight? I don't know. My healthy weight is me eating a balanced meal, a good meal that offers my body nourishment. That's my healthy weight. Don't worry about a BMI, TCI, or PPI, whatever. That's your healthy weight. If you sit up there and you look at yourself and you say, "Oh man, I'm heavy set. I'm a little bit too thick. Maybe I'm eating too much." Maybe you're not. Maybe you're eating the amount that you need to eat, and just keep an eye on it and monitor it. Okay, you're entitled to 3 meals a day. You're entitled to 2 snacks. Half of the time, you're not even eating all that. Most of the time, you don't even intake all that. You know, the saddest part when I heard some people doing their awakening say, I was so malnourished. I didn't even know that my body was that malnourished because you weren't taking care of it. Something else had possession of that body. Something else, you know, lose yourself, finders, keepers. Y'all like to sin a lot. When they find you, they try to keep that body in that same state. That's part of the thing. And you don't even have to be a sinner for them to try to take possession and use the man's possession on you. You don't have to be a sinner. You could be a saint. You could live the right way and still, because we go into warfare as saints, we know that we go into warfare. And they want to keep things the way it is. So that's the reason why they have these warlocks out here. They want to keep control. So they'll send a warlock. They'll send a keeper, which is called the warlock, to try to keep the situation the way it is. Try to keep it at the level that it is. Because they like the level. They like the way they got it. And you are chaos as a rebel against that. So you got to understand how to actually fight against these warriors that want to keep your life consistently without. You have to learn how to fight against these warriors that want to keep you without. You know what I'm saying? And you can sit up there and you can talk about people talking and stuff like that, but they ain't just talking. Some of them know what they talking about. Some of them are the same ones that's attacking you, staging the setups to destroy you. So you have to be mindful, even when we talk about food intake, weight gain, the body itself. You got to be careful with your body. By all means necessary. Your main focus is to protect your body. I remember the movie Wakanda. And in the movie Wakanda, he say, man, they worry about everything else, but they ain't even worry about what they taking into their body. And that's how one is attacking them and destroying them, by what they taking into their body, by what you're eating. By you ain't worry about what's going on around you. You worry about all this stuff that's going on around you and stuff like that. But you're not really worried about what you're taking into your mouth, what you're eating. Who hand am I eating from? Is this hand really for me? I'm eating from somebody's hand, but is the hand really for me? Or is this hand trying to destroy me? Okay, start picking up on certain stuff. I may not can plant a garden because I live in an apartment. So what am I going to do? I'm going to try to find healthy places to eat from that's cheap, reasonable, that can give me the best benefits. Because this warfare that we're in, and I understand as children, you're saying to yourself, what warfare? Are they crazy? No, we have been in warfare spiritually for the mind, the body, and the soul since Adam and Eve time. Since Adam and Eve time, you've been in warfare for wisdom. This is part of the way they keep you enslaved. You don't you don't value your education because your enemy has told you not to value your education. That's the man's possession. The man had possession over you. He told you, say, don't value your education. And guess what? You stop valuing it. My values right now, I love education, but now I have a value saying that I should be able to afford to pay for my own. So now I have to rage against the dying of the light of me being able to pay for my own because of financial abuse. This is stuff that they don't talk to you about. You still use grants and scholarships and everything, which is accessible to you, which basically we also used as well. I learned from my usage how to maneuver and how to, guide myself through that. But I also learned that I needed to fight against that because certain parts of that was my healing. Yeah, you healed me with this, but the enemy used your healing as a curse to me to keep me from having where I can afford my own education. And I may never be able to afford my own education unless I break free from that shackle and begin to pay to re-educate myself, pay to re-enlighten myself, because the enemy used what you used to heal me. And I thank God for you and your healing that you brought to me. But now the enemy wants to financially abuse me and say, okay, you only use what we give you. You only eat from my hand. And that hand ain't your hand that you built for me. So know what you're dealing with, because in more ways than one, we have to eat. And we have to look at our weight and how much we weigh, whether a buck 50 or 1,050, and say, is this the right path? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do when it comes to my body, my soul, my spirit? Because I had to learn a long time ago what's going on with my body is not just a reflection of my body, but of other people as well. And if I don't change myself, other people may never be able to change. I'm awakened enough where I can change it. I need to change it. I need to be mindful. I need to be present, saying I'm taking accountability for what I do with my life. Because there's so much stuff that we're fighting for now that we may never get back. Like I said, we suffer financial abuse constantly. That has a wear and tear on whether we can afford food. We go to places like Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree is a great place to shop and great place to get food to survive. But we need food that is healthy. We need food that will maintain our people at a reasonable price. And this is a fight to maintain weight, maintain good intake, and maintain great character. And then on top of that, we have been dealing with financial abuse for centuries. Financial abuse. Trust me. They station you where they want you stationed at and say, okay, well, we'll keep the rent at a good price for you. And sometimes they don't even do that. Sometimes they don't even do that. They'll jack it up on you and say, okay, well, we're making it unreasonable or whatever. And now you stuck on the street somewhere because you can't afford to even live comfortable. And all of this is done through financial abuse. And the community is well aware of it. The same community that you vowed to help, the same community that you want to see grow, the same community that you want to see the best for, is just showing you, hey, this is us. This is how we got here. And you may not be able to understand that. So with everything you do, controlling your meals is control of your life. Write your meal intake down. What did you eat today? That's another thing. How many ounces did you eat? Because we got to now start taking accountability. And I haven't done that in so long. And I think it's time that we start to do that. To start to say, how many ounces of something we took in? How much did you really intake? And actually start documenting it. Because this battle of weight and you going up against the man about your body and the image you want this body to reflect is quite the battle. Because a lot of us have gotten surgery and a lot of us got sculpting. Look, I'm not mad at you. You look beautiful, baby. A lot of us got sculpting, but we still dealing with the man's possession where they don't want us healthy. They don't want us having this beautiful image that we have taken on. It's a whole bunch of different things. So watching what we intake as far as food, watching our weight, and saying, hey, am I really at a healthy weight with what the man's doing in this season? And you may find that you are at a healthy weight, even though you reflect as a bigger person. You reflect as oversized. Just consider yourself rich, honey, because that's all I can tell you is just consider yourself rich, because everybody ain't able. And you're blessed and rich because you reflect at a bigger size. Everybody's not a size 2. Enjoy being your weight. I ate my fill. Guess what? And I'm good. There was times in my life where I would eat, and I kid you not, 5 minutes later, I'm right back hungry. What you think that is? The man's possession. I had to tell myself, no, I'm not going to eat again. I just ate, and I ate until I was full. I'm not eating nothing else. And I would actually force myself, no matter how hungry I am, and eventually how I would figure out that it was the man's possession was because I would sit up there after being hungry that 5 minutes later and not eating anything. I would notice, like, if I didn't eat for a good little minute, like I got to battle with it for like an hour or two or whatever, all of a sudden the hunger went away. So it was just them trying to force me into eating, or them trying to force food on me and force me. I just ate. I got my stomach full. I really don't have to eat anymore for a while. And it's like they try to force you to do that. So that's part of the reason why we fast, because we're fighting the man's possession and them trying to force something that shouldn't even be forced on us. So that's part of the reason why we fast as Christians, to maintain control. So that's one of the control things. And when you sit up there, even when you're not fasting and you're going up against these type of demons that want, demons that we call, try to fight with us about our weight and food intakes and everything, when you go up against those type of demons and you're winning, It's a whole nother thing. This is the reason why I tell people don't make unreasonable diets. You want to be strictly vegan, you want to be this, you want to be that. I understand, baby. Do it if you're happy and you can stick with it. But a lot of times you're not going to stick with those habits. Make healthy habits that you can stick with so that you can stay in control. Because guess what? 10, 20 years from now, they're going to try you with that. And if you're not happy with the decision you made or the diet you made, you may not stick with it. You may not no longer want to be a vegan. Okay, I was a vegetarian. I I loved being a vegetarian. I was so sick and tired of being hungry all the time because I was living with other people and they would eat all my doggone food. Like they ain't got food in the house and they have their food, but mine was more desirable to them. And I was just so sick and tired of it. I was like, what, y'all gonna kill me in here? And I just went on, transitioned back, and was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and transition back to being eating meat or whatever. So now I can eat y'all food because I'm sick of y'all. And that's really how my transition back from being a vegetarian and back eating meat actually took place because I just got sick of them. Now I can eat y'all food because obviously y'all don't want y'all's in. Mine's is more desirable. So, so I start eating their food and I go through that a lot too with the man's possession. So it just is what it is. But like I said, when you're making these diets, you're making these plans, find something that's reasonable and watch what you intake. Get you a notebook. Write down what you're eating every day. Did you take enough water? How many ounces of water did you take today? Oh, I really didn't take any ounces of water because I drank juice and I drank soda and I was pretty much done for. Okay, well, maybe you should consider trying to take at least 16 ounces of water into the body every day. And this helps you like measure where you're at so that you can know what to do with yourself, with your body, with your mind, with your soul, with your spirit. Just document it. Sometimes we can go back and look at our documentation and know what we're doing. When the Egyptians began living life, they would always document stuff. You wonder what the Egyptians was doing. They writing down everything. You can go back into their logs and you can see chronologically they wrote down everything. And we have to start doing that to actually maintain and gain back control of our life. Because if we lose our life, finders keepers, and they own the keeping game. So we have to up our game in this warfare and in our way of representing Christ and God and ourselves. Trust me, God is always for you. Christ Jesus is always for you. Jesus being the implementation of a word of God. And guess what? There is liberty in God and Jesus. Liberty in you serving God. Liberty in you walking like Jesus, following the word of God, implementing that word of God to gain back control. Because there's liberty through that. And if you really want it, you will have it. Hopefully these words encourage you. Stay blessed, my children. This ain't a good world. Make sure that when you're fighting the man and you're fighting the demonic possession and you're fighting all these spirits that come up against you, that you love God, and serve yourself above all other things. Making sure that you protect you. Because if you don't protect you and you're trying to protect other people, you may not make it. And there's nobody to protect you after you don't make it or them. So put yourself first, protect you first so that you can protect them. Hopefully these words encourage you. Stay blessed.